This video shows best practices to work best with Claude Code. Can save you hours on tedious dev tasks, but only if you set it up right. Most developers miss the key practices that make it actually useful. Here's exactly what to focus on first. Here is the map for this video. First, we start with Claude Code in your terminal. Then we move into Create a Claude. Then we compare specific prompts. Then we test workflows for real tasks. Then we check Manage Context aggressively. Then we stress test automate with hooks and auto mode. Finally, we close on avoid these mistakes. Most people just ask Claude Code a question and hope for the best. That's not how you get the best results. Claude Code is an AI coding assistant that lives in your terminal. It understands your entire codebase, not just the file you're in, and can work across multiple files and tools. It automates tedious tasks, writing tests for untested code, fixing lint errors across a project, resolving merge conflicts, updating dependencies, and writing release notes. If you paste an error message, it can find and fix the root cause. But here's the catch. It works best when you follow a few specific practices. Let's dive into the ones that matter most. No source brief available. Avoid specific factual claims. User-provided sources in priority treat as authoritative. Cite explicitly where relevant. Claude Code Overview. Claude Code Docs. Skip to main content. Claude Code Docs. Home page. English search. If you only do one thing after this video, create a Claude.md. It's the foundation for everything else. The single most impactful practice is creating a Claude.md file in your project root. This file holds long-term instructions that Claude reads at the start of every session. You tell it your coding style, testing preferences, architectural choices, and any conventions you want followed. Don't write a novel, keep it concise. For example, use TypeScript strict mode. Write tests with vytest. Prefer functional components. Use kbap case for file names. That's enough. Claude automatically remembers this across session. You can also create rules in Claude or rules for path-specific instructions. If you don't set this up, Claude starts each session with a blank slate and you'll waste time repeating yourself. Claude Code is an AI-powered coding assistant that helps you build features, fix bugs, and automate development tasks. Most services require a Claude subscription or Anthropic console account. Vague prompts get vague results. If you want Claude to fix something, give it the exact symptom. Claude Code works best when you're specific. Instead of saying, fix the build, say the build fails with this error paste. Find the root cause. Instead of refactor this module, say refactor the auth service to use dependency injection and separate user validation into its own file. Include the exact error message, stack trace, or the function you want changed, and give Claude a way to verify its work. Run the tests after making changes or check that lint passes. The documentation calls this is explore first, then plan, then code. Let Claude analyze the problem before it writes code. This reduces back and forth and makes the output more accurate. Claude Code tracks the stable release channel, which is typically about a week behind, and skips releases with major regressions. On first login, a Claude Code workspace is automatically created in the console for centralized cost tracking. You don't need to use Claude Code for everything. Focus on these 3 tasks and you'll see the biggest wins. Claude Code shines in 3 common workflows. First, understanding a new code base. Ask it for a quick overview of the architecture or trace a specific flow from front-end to database. Use domain language from the project. Second, fixing bugs efficiently. Share the error and reproduction steps and let Claude suggest and apply fixes. It can even find matching usage patterns in your codebase. Third, refactoring, update old code to modern practices, for example, converting class components to hooks or introducing error handling. Claude can analyze code paths and suggest tests for error conditions you might overlook. The documentation says to be specific about what you're looking for and install a code intelligence plugin for your language to give Claude a go-to definition and find references capabilities. Getting help documentation index. Fetch the complete documentation index at use this file to discover all available pages before exploring further. This quick start guide will have you using AI-powered coding assistant source brief. Quick aside, if you study from your own notes, try Mnemonic. It turns PDFs, slides and recordings into summaries, mind maps, flashcards, quizzes, and exam practice. The free plan is enough to test the workflow. Link in description. Then we go back to the video. Context windows are finite. If you don't manage them, your session becomes useless halfway through. Claude Code has a context window limit. If you work on a large project, you'll fill it up. Best practice, manage context aggressively. Use the compact command to summarize the conversation and free up space, or start new sessions for unrelated tasks. Use checkpoints to rewind. If Claude goes down a wrong path, don't let it spiral. And if you're working across multiple areas, use subagents for investigation. Give one session the job of exploring the codebase while another focuses on implementation. This keeps context focused and prevents confusion. The docs also recommend course correct early and often. If you see Claude heading in the wrong direction, stop it and redirect. Waiting too long wastes token budget and time. 2 mechanisms carry knowledge across sessions. Claude.md files instructions you write to give Claude source brief. 2. Claude can analyze your code paths and suggest tests for error conditions, boundary values, and unexpected inputs that are easy to overlook. The real power isn't manual prompting, it's automating the boring parts of your dev workflow. Once you're comfortable, take it further. Claude Code supports hooks, scripts that run before or after certain actions. You can set up a pre-test hook that runs tests before Claude applies code changes, or a post-commit hook that writes release notes. You can run Claude Code in non-interactive mode for CA or CD, for example, automatically fix lint errors on pull requests, or use auto mode to let Claude execute tasks autonomously within defined permission boundaries. The docs mention run multiple Claude sessions and fan out across files for large refactors, and you can integrate with Slack or Chrome extension for broader workflows. Start simple, set up a hook that enforces style guides automatically. Claude Code offers a variety of settings to configure its behavior to meet your needs. You can configure Claude Code by running the config command when using the interactive REPL, which opens a tabbed settings interface where you can view status information and modify configuration options. Most problems with Claude Code aren't the tool's fault, they're these common mistakes. Avoid them and you'll... Finally, avoid common failure patterns. Don't ask Claude to do something without a way to verify success. For example, make the button blue without then open the app and screenshot. Don't ignore the context window. If you see Claude forgetting earlier instructions, use DOS compact or start fresh. Don't forget to course correct. If the approach is wrong, say stop. Try this instead. And don't skip the Claude.md setup without it. You're starting from scratch every time. The documentation also warns against trying to fix symptoms instead of root causes. Always say address the root cause. Don't suppress the error. These patterns separate a productive session from a frustrating one. Configuration scopes. Claude Code uses a scope system to determine where configurations apply and who they're shared with. If you found a practice here that you're going to try, drop it in the comments. I want to know which one. And if you want me to test Claude Code on a real project and show you the full workflow, comment a test and I'll make that video next.